What if suffering is not necessary? What if peace is available to you right now, regardless of your circumstances? What if the thing that you've been trying to fix or avoid or control isn't actually the problem? Most people spend their entire lives trying to eliminate pain, trying to create the perfect set of circumstances so they can finally feel okay. But what if that very pursuit is what's keeping you stuck? What if there was a completely different way to live, one where you don't need life to change in order for you to feel free? The possibility here is radical, but it suggests that the answer isn't out there somewhere in the future, but available in how you relate to this moment. And if that's true, then everything you've been chasing might not be what actually sets you free. Life is a lot like a game. And if you've ever tried to play a game without knowing the rules, you know how frustrating that can be. You don't know what to do, what matters, or how to win. So you make mistakes, you feel confused, and you often feel like you're losing when you're trying your best. But the moment someone explains the rules, everything changes. The game itself doesn't change, but your relationship to it does. Life works the exact same way. There are rules built into the very structure of reality. They aren't written down, they're not taught in school, but they are always at play. And if you don't understand them, you will suffer far more than necessary. But once you do, you begin to move through life with clarity instead of confusion. You stop taking everything personally and instead start recognizing patterns that were always there. And with that awareness comes a sense of empowerment, because now you're no longer blindly reacting, you're consciously participating. One of the most fundamental rules of life is duality. Everything has an opposite: pain and pleasure, happiness and sadness, love and loss, success and failure. This isn't a flaw in the system. It is the system. The problem is that most people want one side to exist, but not the other. They want love without the heartbreak. They want success without failure, happiness without sadness. So they resist the parts they don't like. They fight them, avoid them, and deny them. But in doing so, they're not fighting life. They are fighting reality itself. And when you fight reality, you will lose every time. The more you resist what is inherently part of the human experience, the more you will suffer. But the moment you accept that pain and grief and loss are built into life, something will shift. You stop seeing them as problems and you start seeing them as part of the game. So instead of asking, why is this happening? You begin to understand that this is how it works. And paradoxically, that acceptance makes the experience lighter, even when the experiences themselves haven't changed. Most people believe their suffering comes from what happens to them, from the breakup, the betrayal, the failure, the loss. And while that seems obvious, it's not entirely true. If suffering came directly from events, then everyone who experienced the same thing would suffer the same way. But they don't. So the difference lies in interpretation. Suffering is created by the meaning you assign to your experiences and the story you tell yourself, and the belief that what happened should not have happened. The moment you decide something is wrong, unfair, or not supposed to be, you're no longer just experiencing pain. You're resisting it. Pain is a part of life, but suffering is what we add to it through resistance. This means that two people can walk through the same storm. One is broken by it, while the other is transformed by it. The external reality is the same, but the internal relationship to it is completely different. Ending suffering requires a fundamental shift in how you relate to life. Most people want happiness, but not sadness, pleasure, but not pain, peace, but not discomfort, but life doesn't operate that way. Life is both. It's happiness and sadness, pain and pleasure, love and loss. So the question is not whether these experiences will happen. The question is whether you are open to both. The moment you reject half of reality, you create an internal conflict within yourself. But what if you didn't? What if instead of labeling your experiences as problems, you began to see them as experiences you are here to have? What if nothing was happening that wasn't supposed to happen? This shift alone dissolves so much unnecessary tension because you're no longer arguing with what is. You are participating in life rather than resisting it, which changes everything about how you experience it. The moment you decide there is a negative half of reality that you need to avoid, protect against, or eliminate, you unknowingly sign yourself up to live in fear of life itself. Because if pain, rejection, loss, embarrassment, or failure are things that must not happen, then you have to constantly be on guard, scanning, anticipating, and bracing for when they might show up. So your life becomes less about living and more about avoiding. But the problem is that half of reality is not optional. It is guaranteed. So now you're not just experiencing life, you're fearing half of it before it even arrives. And that fear is what creates the tension, the anxiety, and the suffering you feel on a daily basis. So in trying to protect yourself from pain, you end up living in a constant state of it. But when you no longer see that half of reality as something to fear, when you become open to experiencing it instead of avoiding it, the fear dissolves. Perhaps for the first time, you're no longer living against life, in opposition to life. You're finally free to live within it. What if you let go of the need to decide what is good or bad for you? So many times in life, what we initially perceive as negative ends up being the very thing that changes us for the better. And what we once thought was positive can lead to unexpected pain. You see, the truth is, we don't actually know, yet we constantly judge, label, and resist. But what if your role wasn't to judge your experiences, but simply to be open to them? What if you could feel sadness without running from it, embarrassment without hiding, loss without telling yourself that it wasn't supposed to happen? What if your only responsibility was to experience life as it unfolds? This doesn't mean you become passive or indifferent. It means you become present. And in that presence, you stop creating unnecessary suffering by trying to control something that you were never meant to control in the first place. To truly align yourself with the nature of reality, you must first become comfortable feeling the full range of human emotion without judgment or resistance. The moment you are no longer afraid of your feelings, they lose their control over you. From there, you develop the ability to choose your relationship with your emotions. This is emotional maturity. It's not about suppressing feelings or being overwhelmed by them. It's about knowing which emotions to lean into and which ones to release, but never suppress. Over time, you become less reactive to your external world, not because everything is going your way, but because you no longer need it to. You're no longer trying to control life to protect yourself from your feelings. And when your need to control dissolves, you will experience a level of peace that isn't dependent on outcomes. It's a peace that comes from within, because nothing outside of you has the power to destabilize you anymore. True spiritual mastery comes from letting go of expectations of how life is supposed to be and embracing it as it is. Those who reach this level have practiced leaning into every experience without judgment or resistance so many times that they no longer feel the need to resist at all. They simply want to experience life in its entirety. They want to soak in the joy of life's most beautiful moments and also remain open to its deepest pains. Not because pain is what you prefer, but because it has the power to make you feel alive, just like joy. When you reach this place, you don't just win the game of life, you transcend it. And in doing so, you become free to fully live it. You're no longer bracing yourself for what might go wrong, nor are you clinging to what feels good. You're simply here, fully engaged with reality exactly as it is. So if you truly want to end your suffering, stop trying to control life. Stop trying to eliminate pain. Stop trying to force reality to match your expectations. Instead, learn the rules and accept the duality of life. Allow yourself to feel everything without resistance, because peace is not found in a life without pain. Peace is found in a life where pain is no longer a problem for you. And when that happens, you don't just survive. You finally become free. And that freedom isn't something you achieve someday. It's something you will experience the moment you stop fighting what already is. Thanks for watching this video today. If you get value from my content, make sure you like, subscribe, and turn on notifications. I don't want you to miss future conversations about awareness and emotional freedom and enlightenment. And if you really want to go deeper into the work, head over to my website at keithcrossley.com. I've got additional teachings and resources and coaching options, all designed to help you attain the highest levels of mental and emotional freedom. I really appreciate you being here, and I'll look forward to seeing you in the next video.